If you clicked on this video and you are wondering, why in the world do I believe that God told me to close down an accounting practice? Or if you're wondering what made this crazy girl believe that God is talking to her, is she just one of these other people that said, God told me to do this and I'm doing da 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 da? Whatever it may be, I got you, okay? But I want to be completely honest. I'm not making this video just to talk about my journey and what I believe God was telling me to do and why I believe he was telling me to do it. I'm making this because 2025, what we're living in, this is different. This is different. Okay. And this is not just about me. I believe this is bigger than me, my story, why God's telling me to leave accounting. We are living in a world where AI is about to start taking and eradicating jobs at record rates, and we're not prepared, okay? We're living in a world where they are introducing things that are looking very close to the beast system that is talked about in the revelation of the revelations. Do you hear me? And we are also living in a world where we're witnessing people being literally unalived in front of us on camera. And it's splitting us apart that more than likely, regardless of what you believe about that situation, you're going to have somebody who vehemently hates you for feeling that way. We're living in a world where the church is divided, where we see so many people preaching craziness, preaching all types of manners of tomfoolery on the pulpit, sending people straight to the pits of the lakes of the fires. People don't know their Bible. People are being bamboozled. People are being money laundered, like they're being trafficked. They're being all these different things, okay? And the world is starting to very much look like, I mean, it's enough to be said. We are in the end times. We know that, right? But this is different. Things have shifted. Post 2020 and beyond, things have shifted. And I believe God has been waking me up. And he's been waking a lot of people up. It's not just me, right? He's been waking a lot of people up to rededicate their lives to him, to stop living lukewarm, to get serious about their walk with him, to treat him as Lord and not just like someone that's good to reference as I follow, you know, like he's saying, are you about the kingdom or not? Right. And so every believer has to come to make a decision because it's about to get real. It's already gotten real, but it's about to get even more real. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions. We're going to have to know where we stand. Are we willing to put down our lives for the one who laid down his life for us? Are we willing to stand bold and declare truth when it could cost us our livelihoods? Are we willing to say no to a system that wants to desecrate, right? And just destroy, even if it costs us our ability to buy and sell and to work and to do all these things? Like, are we willing, right? And the truth of the matter is Jesus is coming back. And I know a lot of people are saying that, but I really want you guys to hear me. A lot of people are saying this, but I challenge you. I really want to ask you, do you really believe it though? Like, do you really believe it? Do you really believe that Jesus is coming back for his bride and that anybody who is not found right with him will perish? Because think about it. Think about all your friends, all your family members, all the people you know who you love and hold dear, who do not know the Lord at this time and at this hour. When we think about the people who are being persecuted in Nigeria, in Syria, in all these places of the world for their faith, are like, is it clicking that this is real? Is it clicking that this is a different time period? And I know I got off topic, and this was supposed to be about why God told me to leave my accounting firm and tear that down. It's cool. I'm going to get to that. But I'm setting the scene for something, because goes beyond an accounting firm. This goes beyond the temporal riches and things of this world. This world is very temporary, and there's a world beyond this world that is much more real than the world that we are looking in, the world that we're living in. And so as a result, we have to treat the heaviness as such and really tune in our ears to what is God assigning us to do, right? Because his word has to be proclaimed to all the ends of the earth. I think it's because of his mercy that he has not returned. I think it's because of his grace and how he's trying to save as many people to himself as possible. But it's on us. It's on us to disseminate the word. It's on us to go and make disciples and baptize people in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It is on us. And this is hitting me so heavily because in the scriptures, it said, as a watchman, if a watchman has not warned the people that danger is coming and they perish, that blood is going to be on the watchman's hands. I do not want anybody's blood on my hands. Not for no temporary coins, not for no like worldly success, not for no worldly accolades and achievements and subscribers and followers and all these things. Not for none of that. It's not worth it for me. Especially when I know God has called me to be one of the people that go and proclaim his gospel to the world. So now that we've got that all out the way, let's get into this story time, because trust and believe me, if you hang tight with me, you're going to know that it's not just about me and what God's calling me to do. You're going to know. You're going to feel that sense that God is calling you to do some stuff, calling you to make some pivots that you know he's been telling you to make and do for a very long time now. God is calling you to do the same. He may not be calling you to shut down your business or to move or change jobs or whatever the case may be, but you know what God has been telling you to do. And I pray that if you hang tight with me throughout this video, that at the end of it, by the end of it, you'll have the conviction and the courage and the clarity to take the next move. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you've made it to this part of the video, can you please do me a favor? Because clearly I'm new out here in these streets. Your girl has less than 200 subscribers, okay? I'm trying to build something here. So if you made it here and you like this so far, please go ahead and like this video. Leave a comment, engage, share, do some of that stuff, right? If the Lord leadeth you, please go ahead and like. Thank you. I want to address the fuzzy in the room, okay? I don't see people holding, like some people do be holding like the microphones and stuff like that, but usually they're not like holding this big fuzzy thing, right? Now this is what I got for the camera to like put on the camera, but for me to get the sound, I hear the sound of victory. For me to get the sound that I am looking for, it must be held. So what I'm trying to do a better job of is making sure that it's not covering my mouth the entire time. So bear with me. If it happens, please forgive me. Let me know in the comments. Go on ahead. Hey, Deanna, you was covering up a little too much, okay? But now that we gotten that out of the way, let's get into the story time, okay? So for me to give y'all context as to why I believe God was calling me out of accounting, or to close my accounting practice at this specific time. I need to give you some background as to how I ended up in accounting in the first place. Usually this is a long story. We ain't got a long time. So I got to jump to the chase, okay? Let me check the battery. Okay, we got a little bit of battery. We should be good. So, growing up, Lord, okay. Now I got to get serious. So, money was tight, as many people's story is, right? Money was tight growing up. My parents were Jamaican immigrants, okay? I say our word because my mom's still alive, my dad's not. We're going to get to that. But they're Jamaican immigrants. It's like I'm living in a house, 2-flat house with my mom, my dad, my sister, her 3 kids for the most part when I was growing up. And, well, she has 4. My niece, I love her. But, around this time, through much of my childhood, I had 3 nephews. And then downstairs in the other flat, we have Nana, Poppy. That's like, Nana is my mom's aunt. Poppy is her husband. Poppy's daughter, Peggy, and his other son, Peggy's children, 2 children, which were around my sister's age, and then her 3 children. Yeah, it's a lot of people. The moral of the story is it was a lot of people in this, like, how many bedroom house? In this 3-bedroom house? Yeah, it was technically only 3 real bedrooms, and then maybe, like, you could count the one in the basement as, like, maybe a half bedroom or something like that. But yeah, there were many nights that the lights would go out, the gas would go out. I grew up in Chicago, so in the winter, that was a little rough, okay? Many times I had to bundle up, had to get a little, just to fall asleep, just to go to bed. Had to boil water just to take showers. Whenever the light would go off, and by routine, I knew, let me get the lantern out, And one thing that stuck with me in my memory is that always seeing my mom put the dollar bills on the bed and put the utility bills on the bed, and there were always more dollars on the utility bills than there were dollars on the bed. If you hear me, you hear me. So I remember me being 5 and I'm stressed out. Like, I'm stressed out about money, and I'm 5, right? Because I'm constantly aware that we don't have enough and that money is a scarce thing. And I remember the day it dawned on me how bad it was, because we unfortunately had someone come into our house and rob us, right? And I was 5 years old at the time. I saw a pow up to my sister's head. I was crying, but for some reason I just had faith and knew that we were gonna be all right. Like, that was God. It was nothing but God. But I remember just like trying to cover and hold my nephews and calm them down and let them know it's gonna be okay. And at the end of it, when the robbers finally left, thank God they left. I remember my mom saying that they were trying to rob us for money, and all we had in the house was $40. So whatever my sister was putting in the bag because it was 2 robbers. That robber, he had a gun, a pow up to his head. She was just putting $40 in the bag, and that's all we had to our name. And it was at that point that it dawned to me. I'm like, we don't have much, And so I've always felt that the burden to almost provide at the age of 5, or to pitch in, because every time like school photos would come up, or something would come up, or school trip, or something would come up that would require additional money, I would get stressed. I would get like secondhand stress, and sometimes not even want to tell my mom, because I knew how much she was going to get stressed. And oh my gosh. But long story short, it wasn't until I switched schools in middle school that I went into the 7th and 8th grade program, right? Because I came from the hood. We were in the hood of Chicago, okay? Then I switched to this middle school that was like an accelerated program. This was my first time being exposed to what middle class life looked like people whose parents had 2 cars in the house. I was like, you rich, you have 2 cars, you know what I mean? And then like my best friend, on top of that, her family was pretty well off, you know? And all of these things started pushing it to the forefront of my mind, how much I did not have. That and other things was happening. Unfortunately, Satan influenced me to give the virgins of the entities up at too young of an age, at 13. Okay, we can get into that in another video, right? Because for me, I ain't got no business that I ain't scared to share. Okay, yes, I said scared. Okay, don't come for me. All right, but all of these things happening at the same time. My uncle, he had passed away horrifically at this time too. There was just so much happening that at this point I was becoming like to the point where I wanted to unalive myself. But I was too afraid to do it because I grew up in church, and it was, you know, there was not a Sunday that went by when they did not remind us of the reality of the lake of fire. Okay? Every other day, I'm like, is Jesus coming back? Am I going to the lake? Terrified, petrified, PTSD. Okay? I need to talk to a therapist about that. But anyway, and so my fear was that if I took my own life, that I would end up in a place that was worse than the hell that I felt like I was currently living in. And when I tell you the feeling of trapped, like it was no worse despair that I would never wish on any person, because I felt so trapped to misery. But now looking back, I knew that was mercy. I knew that was God's mercy, because the fact that I had an awareness that there was something worse than what I was currently experiencing is the only thing that kept me. And I'm grateful for that time, even though it was a very difficult time. But I remember it got to the point where I started like fantasizing about doing it. And side note, that's a demonic spirit. If you or someone you know is having ideations of that, that is a demonic spirit. I would suggest therapy, deliverance, prayer, all of the things. But just know that is a demonic entity that is trying to convince you, or whoever your loved one may be, that they do not belong on this earth and that the earth will be better off without them. Okay? Because that's the key. I want to pinpoint that. I want to pin that. What led me to such despair was that I felt like I did not enjoy my existence, and I thought that I was a burden to everyone around me. I thought that my mom, my dad, my family, my church, my friends, everybody would be better off without me existing on this earth, because of all the complaints that everybody had about me. And because of all the misfortunes and the things that I did not have, and all the things that were not good for me or not in my favor, all the things that I just felt like was just terrible, I just knew in my mind, well, since I'm miserable, everybody's miserable with me, I would be better off not here. And the idea of acting out on that would like give me some weird, wicked sense of joy. And so one day I was on this bus, and we were coming back from, I think, like a sports game, maybe a volleyball game or a basketball game. Mind you, your girl, hand-eye coordination, sports, it wasn't my strong suit. Okay, so your girl was on the bench for every game that she's ever played. There was not much time playtime that your girl got, okay? And it was noticeable. People would make comments about it. It was embarrassing. And then one day I just had it, and I was just thinking about like just running we were on the expressway, and I'm just like, man, if I just hurry up and run to the back of the bus and unlatch the emergency hatchet and just roll off into the expressway, I don't think people are going to be so confused as to what I'm trying to do that they wouldn't stop me in my mind, right? I don't know why I thought that, but in my mind, I was like, yes, this is my plan. I'm about to do it. I'm just about to call it a day, right? So I'm inching off. I'm hyping myself up. And then as I lean off, oh Lord, as I lean and start inching my way to like hype myself up to make the mad dash to the back of the bus, all of a sudden I hear this loud sense of, mind you, I'm 13 or 14 at this time, right? But I hear this loud voice in my head that says, stop. I need you to stay. I need you to stick around because you are commissioned to be the hope, the beacon of hope for some little girl who's coming after you, who is in the same position that you're in. But she needs to know that there is a hope worth living for. And she's going to find it in you. It was like all of that thought, right, came to me in a millisecond. And so when I'm saying what I heard, it wasn't the words that I heard verbatim. It was the message that was communicated to me in such a quick millisecond that resonated with me. And it changed me radically. And it was from that moment on, I was like, you know what? That's it. I gotta prove that this life is worth living. Golly, man, this is too much. I'm running out of battery. And I'm not about to do these little crocodile tears, because your girl, I ain't got time to be wiping off makeup. And so we about to hold this back. We ain't about to be crying on this thing. We ain't got time for that. Okay. All right. So snapping back into it. Okay. So from that point on, I was game time. I was like, you know what? Say less. I'm out of this. Like, let me go and make these coins. Right. And so I went on this little track trying to figure out what am I supposed to do. And my parents being Jamaican, all they know is like hospitals and doctors. Right. So I'm supposed to be a doctor. And then I take biology, and I'm like, this ain't it. So I'm having a young life crisis at this point, because I'm like, I can't be a doctor. What am I gonna be? Like, because there are no other professions in the world, so what am I gonna be? All right. And so I was very gifted in math. And so I think the first lady at my church at the time, she was just like, you're good at math, so how about you be an accountant? And I was like, well, what's an accountant? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, okay. She was like, but you can look it up. And so I went back home and I looked it up, and all I saw was finances. And I think I looked it up in a dictionary at this time, because I don't know if the internet was internet the way that is internet now. So I think I went to a dictionary and looked up what an accountant is. And I saw something about finances and money and math. And I said, say less, right? Because in my mind, that's tied to my purpose. Because my purpose is tied to there being hope that somebody like me can make it out of the hood. Because here's the thing, when you're not exposed to anything outside of what you see, you don't believe that there's hope that you could be anything beyond what you can be. But because of that message from God, I had an inner knowing. And I think it also was a grace that I got exposed to the middle class people, because I knew at that point that people were living that way. And so all of this kind of like galvanized me to just go ahead. I went to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which was ranked number 2 in the nation for accounting at that time. I got in honors, graduated. I got in like priority or something like that, graduated honors, did all this stuff, right? Then I'm starting my career. It's not hitting the way I thought it was going to be hitting. Nobody warned me about office politics. Nobody warned me that it didn't matter how much hard you worked or how much like you put in, how much time you put in, or whatever the case may be, that you could still be penalized for not playing the game, and that it was more about a game than actually doing well in your career. Like, nobody warned me for that. And so after that, and about a few years into my career, then my father passes away. And then life started to click in a different way that I'm just like, this ain't it. This is not, I'm not living that dream and that vision that I believe God gave me at the age of 14 years old. I'm not living that, because right now I'm not even hopeful and inspired by my own life, let alone inspiring or giving hope to somebody else. Like, that ain't it. And so then that depression started to creep back up, and those thoughts and those feelings of feeling trapped on this earth started to creep back up. And it was at this time that I started to cry out to the Lord, like, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? You got to tell me something. You got to make it move. You got to make it happen. And then, long story short, we're going to skip over a few things. But I got the revelation to move to Houston, go attend hair school, leave accounting. This was the first time I got the cue to leave accounting, and just pursue my dream of being creative, right? Like, I've always had this creative bug. I've always like loved hair. I always did. Like, I won best hairstyles for 8th grade. Like, the things that they do at the end of the year when you do the yearbook thing. Yeah, I won best hairstyles. All these things, and it just reminded me of like the things that bring me joy, which was expressing my creative being, right? And so it was at this time that I started to feel joy again for the first time in a long time, and I knew I was on something. But the minute that I decided to leave accounting, baby, that thing came tumbling right on back, and we're gonna get into that. So at this time, as I decided to leave Chicago and start moving to Houston, I had a home at this point, so I had to sell it. And trying to sell my home on the covert incognito while I was working in corporate America before, hybrid working was a thing, that was a little tough, because when there was a showing that was occurring, your girl had to figure out how to make it home, or what excuse to use to make it home. And it was just too much going on at that time at work. It was getting a little too crazy. I was getting miserable. I felt like I couldn't go on another day. And so at this point I said, you know what, forget it. It's time, deuces, bye. And I had a friend who had a hair care brand at this time. And so I was like, you know what, let me come and work for your hair care brand. Let me ship some products, you know what I mean? Do the thing. And yeah, because I have no shame in my game. I don't care about being demoted from an accountant to a shipper. What? That's a promotion to me. And so I went and started helping her in shipping and logistics and all this stuff, just helping her get product out. And then they appeared on Shark Tank. Then stuff started blowing up off the fan, right? And so her business advisor came to me and he was like, yeah. I know you shipping boxes. Yeah, can you be the CFO? And I said, huh? Now, mind you, I knew he was gonna ask me because she had hinted at it earlier that day. But anyway, so I was like, okay, but CFO is not something I just, lightly do. Like, that's a full-time role. That's a this, that's a that. And he was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. We just need you. You're a CPA. You're the best person. You've already got familiar with the finances. Like, you're the best person to take over this role. So I said, okay, cool. So then I started off as head of finance. I didn't just start off as a CFO. But I was like, okay, cool. Because then I could do that remote once I finally made the switch and the transition to Houston. So I said, okay, this is perfect. In my mind, this is perfect to just bridge the gap until, my hair career, because we're still doing hair. Do you hear me? And that was cool until it started becoming a lot for me again. I started feeling this discomfort, this pull, this tension that things weren't working. And that's another thing. Like, whenever things would just go awry, like I would feel it in my body, I would feel this tension, I would feel sickness, like physical sickness in my body. I would feel the idea of not wanting to face the day. When I get to the point that I don't want to wake up, now I know there's a problem. And I was getting to that point. So I said, okay, no, we gotta switch. We gotta transition. I went on the hunt to do hair. I'm about to do hair. So I finish up hair school, wrap that thing on up, and then get my license. Then I start doing hair full time. I get me a nice little suite. And then I'm like, cool, where are the clients? So they weren't there. And I'm in a new city. I don't know anybody. So I got to go out and meet. So I'm out here networking. Cool. Like, hey, I do hair. I'm a new hairstylist out here. Oh, okay, cool. Nice to meet you. And then all of a sudden I'm at networking events and they talking about depreciation. I don't know. Like, social media. I don't know. And he's like, depreciation is the best thing in this world. I was like, what? Like, I'm in this world like, y'all think that I'm over here thinking about CPA exam, like the like thinking of like the boring textbook stuff, and I'm just like, you think that's great? Because I'm thinking about textbook. He's thinking about taxes, and so I was like, he was like, you know what that is? I was like, yeah, I'm a CPA, and everybody was like, oh, you're a CPA. Next thing you know, here comes the floodgates. All right, well, can you do this? Can I get your business card? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, okay, at this time, I'm like, okay, cool. I need the money, because the hair ain't popping off right now. And so I ended up doing both for a little bit, but then it was becoming too much because during the week I would be doing taxes, but then at the weekend I'm doing hair, but I needed to make it to the hair store during the week to get the stuff. And it was just becoming too much, and to try to promote both, it's too much. I was feeling spread thin, and I knew that one of them had to go. And so because the accounting and the CPA isms was popping off at this time, I said, okay, cool. Let me just focus on this for now, and we're going to get back to hair. Well, we never got back to hair, but let me edge you on along the story. So mind you, these are two different times that I've already tried to leave the county. And let me put an extra tidbit in there. So when I went back and focused on wrapping up hair school, I was not going to renew my CPA license. I'm grateful that I did, but I was not going to do it originally. It was literally one of the girls at my hair school spent the entire day. Now, we had 8-hour days. She spent 6 of those 8 hours begging me to renew my license. And I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't going to do it until I went to that networking event and everybody was begging me. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to renew this thing. And so that's the one thing and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful because now I'm like, this is not as many nights and as many pounds as I gained and as many years it took me to pass all 4 of those exams to become a CPA. We're not doing that again. We're keeping this license. But fast forward, at this point, now I'm helping small businesses. Then I go and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to go help like a real accounting firm and see how that works. So I joined another accounting practice out here in Houston, just temporarily as like a consultant to like consult with their clients. And their clients had like $1 million clients that everybody, some of your favorite gurus, some of your favorite influencers, we were helping them. And so it was a great experience. But again, I started feeling that tug. I started feeling that uneasiness in my body, and things weren't working. And then I was in this tumultuous relationship at the time. It was just a lot going on. And I ended up leaving that too to just focus on my own thing and grow that. And then I had another high profile client that came around, and then I helped him for a little bit. And then at that point, I left that once I started feeling that tug again. And then I went out to just do clients completely on my own, to just run my own entrepreneurial thing for whatever time. And then that was going great until it wasn't. I had took on too many clients all at the same time for too little of dollars, and I did not have the money to help find the help. I ended up paying for consultants that God bless. But yeah, like I did a lot of like beginner business, like rookie mistakes that ended up costing me everything. And to the point where it got to the point I'm like, I'm about to get evicted, right? Because I can't take on any more work because I'm only one person. And I don't even have the time to market more work if I needed to. But these bills still got to get paid. And so it got to the point where it's like, you know what? Let me just go back into industry. Let me get a job again, even though I said I would never get a job. But yeah, let me get a job. So then I started doing contracting. Then I joined another accounting firm again. And then I did that until I started feeling that tug again. Like when I tell you, it's something in my soul that just makes me want to die. Literally, and I don't mean that like figuratively. It's when I get that feeling that I would rather be unalive than alive, that's when I know, okay, I gotta move around. And that's how deep it gets for me. So then it finally got to the point where I was just like, you know what, I need something steady where I can grow my own business on the side without feeling beholden to needing their money. Because when you need people's money, then you just take on any and everything, right? And I didn't want to do that. I was like, I'm not doing my clients justice when I put myself in that situation where I need their money. And also, I wanted something that was a little bit more chill for my 9 to 5 work. And so then I switched and I got into the situation I'm in now. But in the meantime, I was still running this practice, and I was still started feeling this call where I was not passionate about showing up online to talk about accounting anymore. It was making me miserable. To be honest, I was getting very sad, and I was starting to get back into depression again. And although I loved accounting, it took me a while to kind of do these jumps and these hoops to figure out, okay, what is it that I like? What about it that I don't like? I realized that I love teaching. I love like explaining things to people, breaking things down to people, but people don't really care to understand how depreciation works. They just want to know that I put it on their tax return and get the extra write-off, right? People not trying to hear about how to do debits and credits. They just want the bookkeeping done. They just want it done. And I did not enjoy doing the work. I enjoyed teaching, coaching, like I enjoyed that, but I did not enjoy doing the actual work. And so I started dreading actually taking on new clients. And then that's when I was starting to have that feeling like, I don't know, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this, but no, it's the logical thing to do. This is just the devil trying to get me off course, right? And then I started having all these dreams about delay after delay after delay. And what was happening in those dreams was that like back to back, at least 5 to 6 dreams within like a 6-month period. Every dream followed the same kind of theme. It was like I was given a mission by God. And as I would go on that mission, someone would stop me and then pull me to the side and say, hey, can you do this actual other thing for me? And then I would go and try to help them real quick. And then I would try, once I finished helping them, I would try to come back to the mission, and it was too late. Things would implode. Literally one thing, like it was the end of the world because I did not get back to my mission on time. I let people distract me and take me off my route. And I was just like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? What's distracting me? Well, what are you trying to like make it make sense to me? And he was like, you got to pick one. It's either accounting or the call that I placed on your life. And then for me, that when I heard that, and when I mean hear God, I hear him through thoughts, right? And then I take the step back to try to evaluate, is that thought me? Is it the devil? Or is it God? And that evaluation period, some things like you just know is like not from you. Like I would not have thought that on my own, because in my own rational thinking, I thought that it made sense to do accounting because that's the logical thing to do. But that thought in my spirit, it made so much, it came from an ancient wisdom. And then I was like, well, is it the devil trying to distract me and get me off my guard? I didn't feel like it was the devil, but whenever I get a thought, I don't instantly just say it's God. I let things play out, and I let time reveal itself. I let things reveal themselves, right? So at this time, I didn't act on it. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take on less clients. And then a lot of stuff started happening on my job. I started like getting in trouble for having this business, this accounting practice. I started like my health started deteriorating, started failing. I had all these health issues like bombard me all at once that put me like literally just out of the count. Like it just had me dang near bedridden for like months. I had no energy all this year. All these things were falling apart. Mind you, I had maybe 2 years ago, I had a breakdown where I was like, I don't want to talk about accounting anymore. And so I had went on social media and was like, I'm not talking about accounting anymore. I'm just going to be talking about God and this. And then one of the people that, you know, I would help him with his clients, he called me and he was like, take that video down. And he spent an hour and a half literally like talking me off the ledge and making me like take that video down and recant what I said about not wanting to do accounting anymore. And I'm bringing that up because there's a theme here. There's a theme. Whenever I would feel that tug to leave accounting, I would always have people come back and pull me back in. When I started thinking about the dreams and the common theme that I was seeing in the dreams, it was God was giving me a mission, but people would come and ask me to do something for them and pull me off that I missed what God had for me. And so I started seeing this commonality play out, and I will always see like, why is things so difficult for me when I stay in accounting? Why is accounting so hard for me? Why are things just always like an uphill climb? Why is it a fight and a tooth and a battle? Like why am I playing kung fu fighting like just to do taxes? Why? And it was God. That's when God started to remind me and reveal to me, because I have something else that I'm calling for you. And then I started to think about how much I started developing this passion for God's word, which is weird because I used to dread having to read the Bible. Like I was not involved with it. I felt like it was something I had to do and had to eventually get around to, but it wasn't something I enjoyed, nor did I ever think that there will come a day when I would enjoy teaching people about it or breaking it down to people or, you know, introducing people to God's word. Like I never thought there would be a day, but that day came. And I remember there being a feeling of me just wanting to talk about that because that was the only thing that meant something to me. Like, I mean, yeah, great, big, beautiful bill. But that's not what I want to spend my time talking about. I want to talk about what is going to lead to your eternity for your soul. I want to introduce you to the God who saved me, who prevented me from being unalive that day when those robbers came into my house. I want to introduce you to the God who told me on that bus that my life was worth living because I was going to be a beacon of hope for somebody else that needed hope. I want to introduce you to the God who did not throw me away even when I threw him away. And he had the grace and the mercy to climb me up out of my mess. I want to introduce you to that God, and I want to introduce you to the word that changed my life. Listen, I'm about to get crazy. Y'all see the passion that I have when I'm talking about God versus when I talked about taxes and the big, beautiful bill. When I say that, I want to throw up, okay? So like you see, there's a contrast there, okay? One is very painful for me. One I'm very passionate about. One is very painful for me to not talk about. And so all of these things started, and then I started feeling like, well, you know, maybe my accounting is just my cross to bear. Maybe it's the thing that I'm just supposed to bear out of misery for the sake of everybody else. And then one day I was watching this YouTube video by Danielle. I forgot her last name. I'm going to link it down below. But this video changed my life. It was like talking about what business are you supposed to do. And as she was going through each and every one of the points, I was like, I'm not supposed to do accounting. And then that's when the floodgates opened, and it felt like scales fell from my eyes, and everything that had already been happening started to make sense. It started to click. That's when that's when I went before God, and I started like praying, like, God, this is what it's seeming like to me. This is what all these puzzle pieces is starting to mean to me. Am I off? Because if I'm off base, like, God, get me back on track. But for right now, I'm going to be obedient and lay this thing down and just go all into what you are calling me to do, what I believe you are calling me to do. Right? And the minute that I did that, now everything that was just so hard, that was so miserable, everything just started becoming easy. I wanted to live again. I had joy again. I had passion again. I had purpose again. Things just started to come together and click. I had clarity again. And I'm not saying that the path is 100% clear to me right now, because this is very much a thing that as you walk it out, God reveals. Because I realized that even within the past month or so, I've been in this foggy haze of like not knowing or second guessing whether I heard God correctly. And it was hard for me to come on and make the video. But the reason why it was hard for me to come on and make this video, even though I had been planning it for over a month, was because I wasn't taking action. And what an action breeds is just, it is fogginess. You don't get the next step until you take the first step. And it's not until I actually get in motion that God starts to reveal the next thing to me, because he's just like, focus on the first thing I told you to do. Instead of wanting to know the full journey, focus on what I told you to do. Because I guarantee you, if the people of Israel knew all that the journey encompassed, they probably would have stayed in Egypt. And so I'm coming on to talk to you guys because God may be revealing something to you. You may have been feeling that tug on your heart to do something different. You've maybe been feeling that dread of not wanting to wake up, wanting to not be here, feeling like there's something more, but you just can't tap into it, or it's just not for you. I want to let you know that that's the enemy in your head telling you that life is not worth living. I want to tell you that there is a God, your creator, who created you to create. He gave you purpose. He gave you a calling. He did not just put us here to just exist. We all have an assignment. And right now, when we look at the state of the world, this assignment has not felt more real ever in my life than it does right now. And think about the people that may perish, the people whose blood may be on your hands because you don't get into assignment. And here's the worst thing of it all. Just like in Esther, when Mordecai was letting her know, who knows if you were just appointed at such a time as this to do this for your people. But just know, God will replace you if you don't come into agreement with whatever it is that he's calling you to do. He will replace you, and then your family, you and your family is going to just be destroyed. You know what I mean? Y'all going to be, and the worst thing that I want to hear is, for me, the idea of being a good and faithful servant has been so heavy on my heart. And what's been hard over these years is that I've accumulated a lot of debt and stuff because of stupid, foolish mistakes that I've made, co-signing stuff for people that should not have been co-signed. And if I read Proverbs, if I was reading the word like I was supposed to be reading the word, I would have had wisdom that said, girl, don't you co-sign, don't you guarantee nothing in your name for other people. I don't care who they are. But because of that, I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of student loans. I got a lot of like medical debt now because of all the stuff that popped off this year. I got a lot of tax debt because of the year that I was struggling on my own trying to be an entrepreneur, and I couldn't afford to pay the taxes from the money that I was making at that time. And so now I got all this debt. I got these mountains of things. I got these obligations. And so the for the past few years, the goal has been get out of debt, make this money, get out of debt, make this money, make the money for myself. And all of that has kept me stuck because I was just so focused on making money for myself rather than one, getting in alignment with what God's calling for my life was, and two, adding value to his people and helping solve their problems instead of being so focused on my own problems. Because it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added unto you. God will add and provide. First of all, he don't want me owing nobody. He said, pay back your debts. So if I get into alignment and I get into assignment with what he's calling me to do, how much more he's going to provide for me to do what he's telling me to do, to be in his perfect will, to pay back the people that I got debt to pay back that and back what I owe. And not only that, but to be a blessing to his people. We are in a situation where we cannot afford as people of God to be beholden to the systems at made, that systems that be. First of all, AI is coming. It's going to be replacing a whole bunch of jobs. So first of all, there's going to be a lot of shifting around to begin with. Let's start there. And then when you throw on the fact that we got all this political unrest, tensions are at an all-time high, right? There's a lot going on right now. We can't afford to be sitting here when we got UK, they over here telling people that they need a digital ID to be able to work and all these different things. If we don't have the money as people of God to fund what God is calling us to fund, to help the people, to help the widows, help the sick, help the people that can't help themselves, and fund our own projects to glorify and move forth the kingdom and the kingdom's mission, we are going to be in some serious trouble. And so it's because of all these things that I felt that heavier sense. And when you see all the tomfoolery, the man whose house was just bombarded by the FBI for the laundering, for the traffic. Do you hear me? All right. Do you see like the things where people are being taken advantage of by their leaders? They're being abused sexually, physically, mentally, spiritually. The people are believing that these leaders are the people of God. Why? Because they haven't read their word. And so we have a serious biblical literacy issue. People are biblically illiterate, and we cannot blame people. That thing is intimidating. If you don't know what you're reading, it sounds like a bunch of blah, blah, blah. But God, so it's things like that I feel like God has been impressing upon me. Break down my word to people so that they will have a hunger to learn so that they can hear from me. Because the reason why I'm able to hear from God is not because I'm special and you're not, or everybody else is somebody. No, the reason I'm able to hear from God is because I'm able to discern what thoughts are mine and which thoughts are his. Why? Because I'm able to filter it through his word, because I read it, because I'm reading it. Do you hear what I'm saying? When I know his word, when I know his character, I know his voice. That's why he says that my sheep know my voice. And so I'm saying all this not to be yelling at y'all. I'm saying this with the passion and the urgency. We gotta get in alignment. And so I'm making this video to let y'all know why I think God is switching directions on me, pivoting me out of what I've been historically and into this new calling, where one, I'm going to be just talking about God's word. I am not a seminary person just yet. I don't know what's in my future. Okay. I am not no professor. I'm not no preacher. I'm not no that. I am just someone who is finding out facts about this Bible that's making it easier to digest. And I want to break down those facts for other people who are just like me, to make it easier for you to understand it and understand God's plan, his master plan, his character, and his will for his people a little bit better, right? So that's one thing I'm going to be breaking down. 2, I'm going to be entering into a new business venture and trying to figure that out, because I know that God wants me to be in a position where I'm not beholden and I'm not a slave to somebody else's dollar, right? But at the same time, I know that he wants that hope thing. We need hope right now, and we need financial hope, if not more than anything. Okay? I need financial hope, if not more than anything. And so I know that it can be intimidating when you go on social media and you go on these platforms, when you come on YouTube, and it seems like every guru is out here telling you, oh, you can do this, you could build a $1 million business with AI and all these different crazy stuff, when they're not even doing it. It's just all theory. But anyway, like, you hear all of this stuff, and you hear, oh, you can sell digital products, you can sell coaches, you can do this, you can do that. But sometimes you don't even feel like what they're saying is true. Sometimes you're like, oh, maybe that worked for you back in the day when everybody was just going for the stuff, right? Now we in a different time and age when people are not like, we hip to the game now, okay? We know what's happening if you ask us to come on a webinar. Okay? It's a different time and age, right? Or that's easy for you because maybe you have help. Maybe you have a husband. I don't have a husband. Or, oh, maybe it's easy for you because you had all this money to pay for a coaching program. I ain't got that type of money to pay for a coaching program. Or all these different things that come into your mind as like things that are preventing you from entering into abundance, right? Or you may not think that certain things are still working, like Amazon KDP, that doesn't work, right? Or Etsy, that doesn't work, right? Or are people still buying ebooks? Like, that's just a scam. Are people still buying mentorship? Here's the thing. I know people are still buying them because I'm still buying them, okay? And so I feel like this imperative to go on this journey for myself, restart my business from scratch, and take y'all along the journey to really figure out, can we do it? Because y'all gonna see me in real time. Y'all gonna either see me succeed or fail. But y'all not gonna see me fail for real, because I ain't never gonna stop, right? I ain't never gonna quit. Do you hear me? We're not quitting over here. Okay, we're gonna figure out something gotta shake. Something gotta shake. Okay, so y'all might see me just trying a bunch of stuff and figuring out, failing, falling on my face. I don't know, but I will come and I will like report everything that I'm learning along this journey to give some type of a hope that, or some type of clarity that, yeah, like abundance is for you. It is a possible thing. Prayerfully, prayerfully abundance comes and finds me, and if not, then I just pray that God reinstates a sense of hope for you outside of me too. Don't put your hope in me. Please don't. But I just pray I have some weird faith that if I take y'all along the journey, y'all will see that if I can do it, you can do it too. And I'm doing this in real time. I'm not one of those people that just came on who just said, well, I went through the mud and I was once like you and I was once hurt and then I was once in debt and did that and I was scared and I didn't know. No, I'm that right now. Let's be clear. I'm that right now. Okay. But the goal is that as you see me navigate this, you'll know you can do it too for yourself. And so that's the second thing. And then the third thing is I've been having this weird passion for AI lately. And like I said, we need to reskill. Things are changing and we need to be prepared for where things are shifting. And we also have to learn how to utilize these tools without making them an idol, without making them a God, without letting them replace God in our lives. Okay, so we have to figure this out as Christians, as believers, as disciples of Jesus. We have to figure it out. And so those are the three things I want to share. I want to share the things I'm learning about the Bible. I want to share the things that I'm navigating and learning as an entrepreneur again, and I want to share the things that I'm learning about AI. And if you want to learn these things or follow me along the journey, please subscribe. Please join. Please don't make me brag. But I just hope that I could be a sense of hope to fulfill that promise that God gave me when I was 14 years old. Thank you. If you watched this far, you a real one. Please comment and let me know so I could just give you the biggest virtual air hug. And I'll look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. All right. Bye.